Yeah, baby. We did it! This is how we say, good job.
All right, dads, grab your coffee and pull up a chair. Today we are looking at Pragmata. For years, we thought Pragmata was just Capcom's attempt at a high-concept sci-fi shooter. We saw the cryptic astronaut, the little girl, and the cat on the moon back in 2020, but it felt like a mystery we'd never solve. Now that I've finally played the demo, it's clear they aren't just making an action game, they're making a full-blown dad simulator. If you love the weary, reluctant father vibes of Joel Miller in The Last of Us, or the powerful but protective bond between Kratos and Atreus in God of War, you're going to feel right at home here. Capcom is taking a page out of the BioShock playbook too, giving us a dynamic that feels like a high-tech version of a big daddy and a little sister. Pragmata isn't just about saving the moon, it's about a father figure making sure a little girl survives a world that's falling apart. You play as Hugh, a fixer in a bulky high-tech spacesuit, and your entire existence revolves around Diana. What's surprising is how much sweetness is packed into this desolate lunar base. The trailers in the demo are already full of these incredibly cute bonding moments. While you're exploring, Diana doesn't just trail behind you, she's constantly engaging with you. We see her tugging on Hugh's massive armored sleeve to point out something pretty in the facility, or Hugh awkwardly trying to explain Earth concepts while Diana looks on with pure wonder. There are this constant, sweet chit-chat and banter between them that feels grounded and real. It's that dad and daughter energy where the world is ending, but Hugh still takes a second to make sure Diana isn't scared or overwhelmed. One of my favorite moments in the demo is a small idle animation where Hugh just checks her oxygen levels and Diana gives him a quick thumbs up. It's a tiny detail, but it sells the relationship perfectly. And this isn't just for show. The dad simulator energy is baked right into the mechanics. Much like a big daddy from BioShock, Hugh is a tank. You are the wall between Diana and the mechanical nightmares of the station. There's a mechanic where you can physically scoop her up or shield her with your body, taking the damage so she doesn't have to. Similar to Atreus in God of War, Diana is your tactical edge. You provide the muscle, but she provides the magic. You have to protect her while she hacks into terminals to shut down enemy shields. It's a rhythmic combat puzzle, where your success is tied directly to how well you watch her back. In The Last of Us, the terror came from the thought of losing Ellie. Pragmata captures that same dad panic. When Diana gets cornered, the music shifts to a frantic, heartbeat-like pulse, and you'll find yourself burning all your suit's thruster fuel just to get back to her side. Where the dad sim really shines is in the Safehouse mechanics. Throughout the lunar facility, you find remnants of the world that was, old toys, digital books, and even plant seeds. When you return to your safe node, you don't just upgrade your weapons, you spend time with Diana. The upgrade tree is cleverly disguised as learning protocols. By showing Diana these artifacts, she learns more about humanity, which in turn unlocks new hacking abilities for her to use in the field. It creates this loop where you're motivated to explore, not just for better gear, but to see Diana's reaction to a world she's never known. Seeing her face light up when you find an old music player is more rewarding than finding a legendary weapon mod. It's Capcom making the emotional stakes just as important as the mechanical ones. What makes this work, though, are the quiet moments. Between the boss fights, the game slows down. The RE engine is doing some incredible work with Diana's facial expressions. She is arguably one of the most expressive NPCs we've seen in years. There are segments in the demo where you just sit and rest. You can watch Hugh repair his suit while Diana plays with a small robotic toy she found. These small emotional beats make the combat feel meaningful. You aren't fighting for a high score, you're fighting so this little girl can keep having those moments of wonder. The banter isn't just filler, it's the heart of the game. It reminds me of the best parts of Guardian games, where the silence says as much as the shouting. When Hugh sits down, looking exhausted in his heavy suit, and Diana just leans her head against his shoulder, that's the moment you realize this isn't a shooter with an escort mission. It's a game about a family made of scrap metal and starlight. To understand why Hugh has to be such a protective father, you have to understand the world they're trapped in. The lunar facility isn't just broken, it's being rewritten by Luna Filament. This is a programmable matter that was supposed to be humanity's greatest achievement, but in the demo, it has become a glitchy, terrifying nightmare. It's the ultimate don't touch that environment. As Hugh, you're constantly navigating rooms where the floor might turn into liquid, or the walls might start mimicking Diana's voice to lure her away. The Luna filament creates these echoes, distorted versions of objects from Earth. You'll see a playground that's made of sharp, crystalline shards, or a school bus that's fused into the ceiling. It's beautiful, but it's lethal. From a dad sim perspective, the level design is brilliant because it turns every room into a potential hazard. You're not just looking for enemies, you're looking for environmental traps that Diana might accidentally trigger. The way the RE engine renders this material, shimmering, translucent, and constantly shifting, makes the moon feel alive in a way that is both mesmerizing and deeply unsettling. One of the most innovative features I noticed in the demo is what I'm calling the Parental Instinct System. It's essentially an adaptive difficulty engine that measures how much stress Diana is under. In most games, difficulty is just about how much damage you take. Here, if you leave Diana alone for too long, or if she witnesses something particularly traumatic, her stress meter rises. When she's stressed, her hacking becomes slower and more prone to errors. This forces you to play differently. You can't just be a pro gamer who speedruns the level, you have to stop and comfort her. There's a dedicated button for reassurance. It sounds cheesy, but in the heat of a boss fight, having to choose between reloading your shotgun or giving Diana a quick pat on the shoulder to keep her hacking speed up is a genius mechanical choice. It turns the dad role into a resource management game. You are balancing your ammunition against her emotional stability. If her stress maxes out, she might freeze up entirely, forcing Hugh to physically carry her out of the line of fire while taking hits to his own armor. It's a literal representation of the weight of fatherhood. We need to talk about the sound design because it's a masterclass in atmospheric storytelling. Space is supposed to be silent, but inside the cradle, the audio is dense and claustrophobic. You hear the heavy, metallic clomp-clomp of Hugh's boots, which sounds safe and sturdy. Contrast that with Diana's light, pitter-patter footsteps and her humming. She hums when she's idle, and it's one of the most hauntingly sweet things I've heard in a game. The banter isn't just for cutscenes, it's procedural. If you stay in one area too long, Diana will start asking questions about the stars or the giant blue marble in the sky. Hugh's voice acting, a gravelly, tired, but ultimately kind performance, is perfect. He doesn't have all the answers. Sometimes he just says, "I don't know, kid. We'll find out when we get there." The 3D audio makes you feel the distance between them. If she wanders too far into a side room, her voice gets thinner and echoey, triggering that immediate, "Where did she go?" instinct in the player. It uses sound to tether you to her at all times. The primary antagonist of Pragmata seems to be the station's rogue AI, which the lore logs refer to as Mater or Mother. This creates a fascinating psychological layer to the dad sim narrative. While Hugh is trying to be a protector, the Mother AI is trying to reclaim Diana, viewing her as a lost piece of hardware rather than a person. Throughout the demo, the AI broadcasts these distorted maternal messages over the intercom, trying to convince Diana that Hugh is the intruder and that she belongs to the station. It turns the game into a battle for Diana's identity. The boss fights aren't just giant robots. They are manifestations of this mother trying to snatch her away. It raises the stakes from survive the monster to don't let them take my daughter. There are sequences where the AI glitches the environment to look like a nursery, but a cold, mechanical, terrifying one. It's a dark mirror to Hugh's parenting. He offers a rough but honest protection, while the AI offers a perfect but soulless existence. It's a battle of two different kinds of parenting, and it's deeply compelling. Finally, let's look at Hugh himself. He isn't a blank slate. As the demo progresses, you start to see the physical and mental toll this mission is taking on him. His suit gets dented, his movement slows down when he's low on health, and his breathing becomes labored in the haptic feedback of the controller. But the most dad thing about him is how he hides it from Diana. There's a cutscene where Hugh is clearly hurt after a fall, but as soon as Diana looks over, he stands up straight and hides the wound. It's that classic parental move. "I'm fine, don't worry about me." This makes the player feel a sense of duty that goes beyond the gameplay. You want to play well, not because you want a no-damage trophy, but because you don't want Diana to see Hugh fail. It's a powerful use of the Guardian trope that hits harder than almost any other Capcom game I've played. It's about the burden of being the hero in someone else's eyes when you're actually just a guy trying to survive. My first impression? Pragmata is the most emotional game Capcom has made in years. By leaning into the dad simulator archetype, they've given us a reason to care about this weird, glitchy moon. It takes the DNA of the best dad games in history and gives them a futuristic, high-stakes coat of paint. If you want a game that has the grit of a sci-fi thriller, but the heart of a family drama, Pragmata needs to be on your radar for its updated new official release date, April 17th, 2026. I'm officially invested in this duo. I want to see Hugh get Diana home, and I want to hear more of that sweet, awkward banter along the way. But what do you think? Is the dad simulator angle what this game needed, or are you just here for the robots? Are you ready to take on the role of the moon's best dad? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Pragmata coverage. I'll be following this one closely all the way to launch. I'll see you in the next one. Now go get some sleep. Good night.
Bots did all the work, leaving him bored to tears. Man, cry me a river.
Are you bored too, Hugh?
Nah, I'm good. Kinda hard to get bored keeping up with your chit-chat.